Hello, my name is Mike Macedonio, and today I have the superstar of all superstars. I have Rico with Farmers Insurance. All right, why is she a superstar? In 2021, she sponsored, ready for this, 14 members into BNI. Like, I'm going to tell you the truth, in 25 years in BNI, I don't know if I know someone that sponsored 14 members in 1 year, in one single year. What an incredible accomplishment. She's not only in the top 1%ers for the San Francisco Bay Area for 2021, she's at the top of the list of the 1%ers. You're listening to someone that's a true rock star with sponsoring. Crystal, take a moment, introduce yourself to the audience and tell them a little bit about what you do at Farmers Insurance.
Awesome. Well, Mike, thank you for having me. Honored to be here. Thrilled with the results. But yeah, so my name is Crystal Rico. I am with Farmers. I started my own agency in 2021. I came out of corporate America after COVID and decided, it was time to take a bet on myself and become an entrepreneur. And I took the steps to do just that and launched my Farmers agency in 2021. And through doing so, that led me on the road toward BNI. And here I am today. I'm also a California native. I've been in the Bay Area for over 20 years. I've raised my family here. I'm a wife and a mom of 3 girls. So that's just a little bit about me and kind of a little bit about my journey and how I got to where I am.
Wow. So you launched your business, helped launch a BNI chapter, and brought in 14 members. Okay. Sounds like you had a busy year.
Yes. And might I add, all while having a brand new baby. I said I was a mom of 3 girls. My youngest is 1 year old.
Oh, Stan, congratulations, by the way.
Thank
Crystal,
you.
could you share, how do you do it? I mean, never mind everything else. I mean, let's just talk about, how do you get to sponsor 14 members inside of BNI?
So I will start off by kind of telling the story, if that's okay, about how I kind of came to BNI and how I came to sponsor that many folks. So as I explained, I started my own agency with Farmers, and Farmers is a great organization. There's a lot of really great agency owners within the Bay Area. And part of the training that we were going through and just having agents come together and share best practices, some folks started talking about BNI. And to be quite honest, I really didn't have any idea what BNI was prior to 2021, if you can believe that. So when people started talking about it and how it showed up for them in their business and when they first started and really recommended finding a chapter, it really piqued my interest. But I really didn't have any idea how to go about finding a chapter. How do I get in? It sounds like this club. How do I get a membership? So I started to kind of poke around and do some research. And it just so happens that I had a friend of mine who is currently in the Fairfield chapter. Hello, Corey Ellerby. And he's a fellow Farmers agency owner as well. And I was telling him, that I was really interested in BNI. And he said, Crystal, why don't you just come to my chapter as a guest and check it out and see what it's all about. And I thought, yes, like I finally have an invite. But I knew that he had the seat in the chapter, but it was really more about like getting familiar with BNI. What is it? How does it operate? What does a meeting look like? So he invited me to the meeting. And as I'm sitting there going through the meeting, I'm just getting more and more excited. My eyes are getting wider and wider and wider. And I'm just thinking like, yes, this is exactly what I would love for my business. How do I get more involved? Their meeting was phenomenal. So after the meeting, Corey said, I'll get you in touch with Susan, who's our regional coordinator, and maybe she can help you find a seat. And I said, perfect. So I was so excited because I was starting to get these connections and starting to learn how I could make this a part of my business. So I called Susan, introduced myself, expressed, interest. And she said, that's fantastic. But, insurance seats are really hard to come by in our region. And unfortunately, there are no openings. And I felt my heart sink. I'm like, oh no, what do I do? Like, I was so sure this is what I wanted, but I felt like all of a sudden the door got closed. But I was like, no, there has to be. I'm like, okay, Susan, what else? And she's like, well, Crystal, there has never been a chapter in Dixon, and that's where you live. So if you are open to the idea, you could consider starting your own chapter. And I was like, what? Me? Who am I? I'm just like this newcomer. I don't really know anything about it. But what I did know is that this is where I was supposed to be and this is what I wanted for my business. So I just said yes. I just jumped in feet first, not really knowing 100% of what it was going to entail, but I didn't care. I just said, you know what, Susan? Yes, I would like to start my own chapter. And that's what happened. So this was about May of 2021. And, she laid out the requirement. She said, okay, in order to be a chapter, you have to launch with 14 members. And so I thought, okay, I want a chapter. I want it where I live. What an awesome opportunity to not only get the seat of the profession that I'm in, but to have it in the town where I live and have that presence in my community. So I had a goal and I was on a mission to meet that goal. And here we are, 15 members later, first ever BNI chapter in Dixon.
So that is amazing that you could do all of that in 1 year. Now, Crystal, how do you go about choosing who you're going to invite? Is this a focused approach, or is this I just invite everybody?
So at first, it was more of like an open invitation. And to be quite honest, I'm really active on social media. And I think social media is such a powerful tool to use. And I was already immersed in different groups around the Bay Area. I've had a long time Facebook page. I started one for my business. I have a heavy presence on LinkedIn. And Instagram. So I thought, you know what, like I am going to make it known in Solano County that Dixon is on the map and Dixon is starting a BNI chapter. So I drafted this post and as I was writing it, I was thinking about if I were a business owner, what would I want to read that would entice me to be interested in this chapter that's up and coming. So I wrote it with intentions of excitement, first ever chapter for business owners in Dixon. We are so excited. This is unprecedented. Here are some of the professions that we're looking for, but honestly, it's open to all business owners right now. And we have a post in Dixon called Dixon 411. It has about 15,000 people in it. And I kid you not, it reached like 100 comments in probably 48 hours because I also put a call to action in there. If you know somebody, if you know a business owner that could benefit from something like this, tag them in this post, show them. So not only did I have people responding to it that were interested themselves, but I also had people tagging their friends that were business owners, showing them like, hey, look what's happening. So it just caused all this excitement. And I would say that's how I got the first half of those 14 members, is just that interest in what I was doing and they wanted to be a part of something special. Some of them had heard of BNI before and didn't have an opportunity to get a seat. Maybe it was filled. And some of them just liked the sound of something new and exciting for business owners coming to Dixon, and they responded to the post. So the power of social media, guys, is an awesome tool. And I was not afraid to use it and put myself out there, and it worked.
And once you got through that initial excitement and those first people that came on board, how did you refine, adapt? Did you make any changes?
Yeah. So once those professions kind of got filled, it kind of had to band together because we're all in this together. I'm like, all right, you guys, we're all in this together. So now we kind of all have to be thinking and doing the same thing. But what I started to use what I like to call FOMO, the fear of missing out. So I would do a few more posts and say, okay, guys, now we have a realtor. Now we have our mortgage lender. Now we have our financial planner. These are the seats that are filled. Take this opportunity before the seat that you want fills up. And that kind of started generating interest. People were like, oh, there's only one seat. I better jump on that, right? So I got a few more people interested because they saw that the seats were filling up so quickly and that other business owners in the community were jumping on this opportunity. So then I started to kind of refine it and kind of specify like what seats we were looking for. And I did want to be somewhat strategic because I had in my mind, I want like a healthy, diversified chapter, right? I don't necessarily want to go just for one category. Like I really want a healthy trades. I really want a healthy, real estate, profession. Like I wanted to kind of go after kind of different ones. And I feel like we did, like we've got a pretty good diversified chapter so far, at least one in each category. But right now we're really healthy in the trades and the financial categories, but we do have some like in the event category, health and wellness. So I started being strategic of ones that I could target after our seats started filling up so that I could start filling out some of the diversified categories that we had.
Excellent. Well,
Yeah.
Crystal, that level of success is unprecedented. Is there anything else that you would suggest to BNI members listening to us today?
Yes, don't be afraid to utilize your resources and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I reached out to several people, right? Like like in social media alone, there's so many resources. There's Facebook groups, there's LinkedIn, there's Instagram, and I use all those sources to reach out to people. There's publications in your town, Chamber of Commerce magazine, Your Town Monthly, the Yellow Pages. There are so many different resources to find business owners. And I even would go on my Facebook too and type in a specific profession just in the chat bar and look at those business pages. And don't be afraid to reach out to people. And it's okay if people say no, because it's not going to be for everyone, and that's okay. But you'll be surprised about how many yeses that you get. And I did get some no's too. And I think sometimes that could discourage people, but don't let it discourage you, right? Like you never know who's going to say yes and whose life you can change by just opening the door and having that conversation. So utilize all your resources, make the time to do it. It honestly didn't take that long. I mean, I was sitting in my home and I built a chapter of 14 members without going out into the community. This is all done through social media, calling on the phone, and just making time for it, 5 to 10 minutes a day, really. So go for the no, utilize your resources, and make the time to do it.
Yeah, I love your message about the no, and that is
Yeah.
so important in BNI and in business. You know, my son, when he moved out here after college, was opening up a personal training business, and he said no to BNI to 7 different people. He said, "No, I'm not going to do BNI. I don't want to do BNI." And
Yeah.
it's interesting because the only way he showed up to BNI is a real estate agent says, "Hey, would you come and support me? I'm doing a presentation. It'd be great to have you." And he said, "Yeah, I'll come and support you." Uh, Crystal, that was 8 years ago. He's been a BNI member ever since. He's been tremendously successful in BNI and in his business. And, can't be offended by the no. It could be
Right.
no, not for now, or maybe no, it's not for them. It's okay. It's a great,
Yeah.
great, great lesson. Thank you so much for that. If viewers and listeners wanted to get in touch with you, Crystal, what is the best way for them to do that?
You can email me directly at crico@farmersagent.com. You can also find me on social media on Facebook, Crystal Rico, on Instagram, Hello Crystal Rico, on LinkedIn, Crystal Rico. If you type in my name and you see that I'm with Farmers, you got the right gal. And you can even call me or text me, and I can provide my phone number if that's okay.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Okay. Yep. That's 707-828-6709.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the time in sharing your story. I think it's a great story about how you got started. It's even a more amazing story when you tell me everything else going on with your life, including launching your business and your family, and to make this accomplishment of being in the top of the 1%ers. Congratulations, Crystal. You are a rock star.
Thank you, Mike, and thanks for having me. Good luck, everyone, with your BNI chapters. Here to support. Contact me if you need any tips or pointers. Happy to help.